Hello, hi everyone. Welcome back to Woo Can Cook. My name is Wesley, and this is a show where we are slowly cooking our way through all of the food from my childhood. Today we're diving back into our series dedicated to deconstructing foods from classic Americanized Asian cuisine with a shot at yet another item from the PF Chang's menu, which is their shishito peppers. For those unfamiliar, a shishito is a very mild pepper commonly found in Japanese cuisine, and in fact, when I bought these for myself, the bag literally just said Japanese peppers, which is a choice. But anyway, you'll often find shishito peppers as an appetizer or small bite on many menus because they can be eaten whole with the seeds still intact. Most often, I personally have seen very simple preparations of shishito peppers, typically flash fried and then finished with salt and pepper. The PF Chang's version that we're looking at today, however, claims to toss their shishitos in a quote savory Mongolian sauce, which I take to mean the sauce from their Mongolian beef, which in fact we also did a recipe for last year. So for our version today, we're going to be borrowing a few of the dark and rich elements that come from our Mongolian beef recipe, including some dark soy sauce, oyster sauce, and black vinegar. Then, as always with this series, I'm also going to do my very best to try and elaborate a bit on our PF Chang's inspiration, with the inclusion of a couple of elements that come from more traditional Chinese wok cooking as well. Today, that's going to be a bit of homemade chili oil and Tian Jin peppers to amp up our heat element a bit. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so diving right in, first up for our peppers today, as you might guess, are our shishito peppers, about half a pound or 8 ounces worth to be exact. I'm giving these a quick wash and then very thoroughly drying them, first in a strainer and then again with a paper towel to really soak up as much residual water as possible. We're going to be searing these today for that nice blistered and smoky quality to our pepper, which means that we're going to want our peppers to be as dry as possible before heading into the wok. Then next up, moving on to our Mongolian sauce. To me, most iconically, what stands out about the sauce to a Mongolian beef is its deeply dark, rich caramel color and savory umami. So, to recreate this for our version today, I'm starting off first with a baseline of 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, followed by my 3 very favorite ingredients that you will likely see come up in a lot of Woo Can Cook recipes that feature dark, rich, and umami-forward sauces. This is 1 tablespoon each of black vinegar, dark soy sauce, and oyster sauce. Next up, now to my taste, a Mongolian beef sauce would pretty much stop right here, but I have also honestly always thought that Mongolian beef is a little bit too sweet and lacking in brightness, so to round out our sauce today, I'm also including a single tablespoon of doubanjiang for some heat, plus 2 tablespoons of chili crisp oil to give that heat a more pervasive quality to it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, today we're using the homemade chili oil that we did from scratch a few weeks back. If you're looking for it, you can find the recipe for this chili oil in our dandan mian recipe here. Or alternatively, if you're looking for a shortcut, you can also just buy this stuff off the rack too. Most folks here will likely know that we use the Laogan chili oil literally all of the time. Over on the stove, I've got my wok heating up as hot as possible, then I'm adding 4 tablespoons of peanut oil and, as always, long out for that nice non-stick surface. Then going in here first are my peppers, which I'm evenly distributing across the surface of the wok, looking for as much surface area contact as possible so that we may maximize on our sear here for that nice blistered quality to our peppers. Remember that anything that's not touching the surface of the wok is basically just gonna steam, which is not what we're after today. I'm letting this go undisturbed for 2.5 minutes before tossing and sauteing for an additional 2 to 3 minutes until tender. Now, at this point, I will freely admit that I tried to add those nice looking blistered lemon slices to my sear, only to discover that this absolutely is not gonna work in a wok fry because obviously the lemons are just gonna fall apart as soon as we start tossing. I would suspect that the PF Chang's version is done on a sheet pan in the oven, which is how you get that nice pretty blistered lemon, but for our case, since we're in a wok, you'll want to just squeeze in some fresh lemon juice instead. Could I have just edited this out and pretended like it didn't happen? I mean, yeah, totally, I could, but that wouldn't be very honest now, would it? Anyway, 2 to 3 minutes later, our peppers should be nice and blistered, so we're removing these from the wok, then wiping down, reheating, and moving on to our sauce next. Going in here first are my dried Tian Jin peppers, which I'm giving a quick 1 to 2 minute dry toast to help open up the fragrant aromatic qualities from these. Remember that these are not edible though, so you can either just pull them out before plating, kind of like a bay leaf, or just leave them in because they're pretty, and as we all know, humans are visual eaters too. Next up, I'm adding in my sauce element to reduce for 1 to 2 minutes on heat before adding my shishitos back to the wok and giving one more final toss to combine. Then I'm removing this all from heat and we're ready to eat. Okay, so I'll be the first to admit that this might be one of the simplest dishes that we have thrown together in recent memory, which to be honest, I'm a really big fan of because I think it increases the likelihood that folks are actually gonna try and cook this. That said though, I also think this might be one of the most intricate takes on a shishito pepper that I have come across too, which I also love, just because I really have only ever come across very simple preparations of this small bite dish. Our shishitos are tender and toothsome from that wok sear, without being overwhelmingly spice forward too, thanks to the mild nature of the shishito pepper. Then our Mongolian sauce adds a nice depth of flavor and umami to the dish, which really brings the whole thing to life and takes the dish a step or two further than what you would normally come across in most restaurant preparations. Finally, our Tian Jin peppers and chili oil add a nice aromatic heat and spiciness to the whole dish that I think might be the bit that I'm always missing every time I eat shishitos in a restaurant, which is crazy because we're literally eating an entire pepper whole here. So, for those that have never had a shishito pepper, I know it might look a little bit intimidating, but really these are very mild though. Think of it like eating a bell pepper. Okay, so that's it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you give this one a shot. For those who are new to the channel, this one is part of a larger series dedicated to reproducing classic Americanized Asian cuisine, including a whole bunch of stuff from the PF Chang's menu, so definitely check out that series next if you haven't yet because there's a lot of these. For the Bay Area locals, the Woo Can Cook Fried Rice pop-up is back at Oakland First Friday tonight, so come by and say hi if you can. More about that at woocancook.com/eats. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, be nice interneters, and I'll see you soon. Bye.